ओम स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतार वरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। सर्वधर्मस्थापकस्त्वं सर्वधर्मस्वरूपकः आचार्याणां महाचार्यो रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। यथाग्नेर्दाहिका शक्ति रामकृष्णे स्थिता हिया सर्वविद्या स्वरूपां तां शारदां प्रणमाम्यहम्। परतत्त्वे सदा लीनो रामकृष्ण समाज्ञया यो धर्म स्थापनरतो वीरेशं तं नमाम्यहम्. Friends, you know that the topic chosen today is Sri Ramakrishna's divinity through Narendra's eyes. Some people thought that I may speak on basis of Swami Vivekananda as my master. No, I have declared my reference text by the name of the subject itself. The fifth part of Sri Ramakrishna, the great master. What is the name of that fifth part? Sri Ramakrishna's divine mood and Narendra. Now this is the topic on which I am going to speak. Sri Ramakrishna's divinity. How many people told that Sri Ramakrishna is an avatar in those days? First you have seen that big scholars, Pandits, Sadhaks, they have said Vaishnav Charan, Gauri, and then Padmalochan. That is one side. And later on who said one doctor, one theatre manager. And no other people felt or told us. What is the third category? Sri Ramakrishna's dear sannyasi disciples. The way they saw or felt Thakur's divinity is different from scholars and pandits, is different from the emotional people. It is they who know what is incarnation. What is God? Incarnation is nothing but God. I will start from a small example. Once Girish Babu was in front of everybody, was telling Thakur, you are God, you are incarnation and so many things. And then he said, I have to go to theatre now. Naren was sitting there. And Naren immediately made a caustic remark. He was talking incarnation and now theatre is fooling him. Have you understood the meaning? We are not challenging Girish's faith, that is a different thing. But does he know what is an incarnation? And that is what Thakur had hinted. One theatre manager, one doctor are telling me incarnation. Now in Swamiji's mind, by the Swamiji's remark, what we understand? Incarnation means God. And God is all pervading. God is the only object of love. God is transcendent, all pervading, the reality of our souls. Then where is the place for theatre there? That is the meaning of Narendra's words. Now how Naren understood Sri Ramakrishna? That is our point. And today, the whole world is worshipping Sri Ramakrishna. Not by Girish's telling, not by Rambabu's telling, nor by Padmalochan or Gauri Pandit or Brahmani. World knows Sri Ramakrishna to be an incarnation. Those who do not know are unfortunate blind people. So I want to read out one incident from the fifth part of Sri Ramakrishna, the Great Master. The heading of the chapter is Extraordinary Relation Between Master and Narendra. And there are two parts of this. In the second part, I am reading out one incident. Those who have the book, if they want, para 16 in chapter 6, second part. The result of the author's conversation with Narendranath on one occasion. On another occasion, that means some occasion has gone past, on another occasion, we heard of another wonderful event also from Narendra. He mentioned it to us in the winter of 1884 when we had become very familiar with him. But we infer that the event occurred at this time, 1883 sometime. Therefore, we narrate it to the reader here. We remember that we went to Narendra's house at Doormohan Mukherjee Street in Shimla. Shimla, you should know, is Shimulia in Calcutta, a little before midday on that occasion, and were with him till 11 at night. All madness. Swami Ramakrishna also was with us that day. The heavenly attraction that we felt for Narendra since we had first met one another became multiplied 1,000 times that day by the dispensation of providence. The only opinion that we, now from here, the only opinion that we entertained about the Master before was that he was a perfected man. That is a person who had known God. We, Sardan Swamiji like people, but that day, the words of Narendra about the Master penetrated into our hearts and shed a new light on our minds. Penetrated our hearts? That means they realized that very moment by hearing Narendra's words. And their thought changed. Some people feel that we have to change our thought and directly, and that changed their thought. The extraordinary events like those recorded in the biographies of great souls, the teachers of the world, such as the holy and glorious Jesus, Chaitanya and others, which we had read about and had been disbelieving so far, where we understood that day taking place daily in the Master's life. Taking place daily in the Master's life. That day we understood that. So we will all understand if we attune our mind in that way. He granted devotion to those who had taken refuge in him. Granted devotion. Those who had taken refuge in him by a touch or by untying at will the knots of their past impressions. That means even without a touch, by his will. He made them enter into ecstasy and realize divine bliss. Now, when we think of an incarnation, take Sri Krishna for example. At every point he shows his divine powers. So our mind has been polluted to think that God is only powers. Even the demons have powers. More power than all of us. Though God has more than them, accepted. But is God defined only as power? And what power? Physical power, killing people. Tell me what power God has. We are reading here, changing the consciousness of people and their minds also by a mere touch or by mere will. You must have read or heard in Abhedan Swamiji's Sri Ramakrishna Stotra. Sansparsha matrena niranam samadhi vidaya sadhyo bhuvi Ramakrishna. I feel she could have even said Sankalpa matrena niranam samadhi vidaya sadhyo bhuvi Ramakrishna. That is what Swamiji is telling here. That is the power of an incarnation. We want incarnation. We want God for our spiritual benefit, for our spiritual progress, for the fulfillment of our spiritual life, not to gain some physical power or to become king or that or that. That is so easy with Thakur. We are read that Mathur will become a king somewhere because of his desires. So supreme power, in the very first chapter of Guru Bhava we read, Swami Vivekananda telling that a new type of miracles I saw. The minds of the people he would take as lumps of clay and mold it according to his will. Let us proceed in the incident. He granted devotion to those who had taken refuge in him. So the only criteria is taking refuge in him. By a touch or by untying at will the knots of their past impressions, he made them enter into ecstasy and realize divine bliss. Not only granted devotion, but go up to Samadhi and have Brahmananda. Or he changed the course of their life into spiritual channels in such a way that the realization of God followed very soon. So either directly he gave or he changed the direction in such a way that they will get it. And that is what we want. And they were blessed for all eternity. Narendra, we remember, took us for a walk at dusk that day to the banks of the Hedua tank. While relating the divine experiences he had had in his life by the grace of the Master, immersed in his self, Narendra, he remained silent for some time while talking. He entered his insight. And at last, there burst out in a song, in a charming voice, the wonderful bliss of his heart. Gora Rai, this is not a ray, huh? The Gora Rai distributes the wealth of love. Who is Gora Rai? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nitai Chan calls, come, come. Who is Nitai Chan? His associate Nityananda. Come, O you who long to have it. Jarfuls of love are being poured out, yet it does not get exhausted. Shantipur is being flooded. What is Shantipur? No. near Nadi. It is not Nadi. Chaitanya had two main associates, Nityananda and Advaitacharya. Advaitacharya was an old man. And this Shantipur is Advaitacharya's place. So Shantipur is being flooded. And Nadia is swept. Nadia is the short form for Navadvip, Chaitanya's place. Nadia is swept off. Nadia is swept off by the current of Gora's love. Though the translation is quite inspiring, I would like to read out from the original Bengali. Premadhan Bilay Gora Rai, Chand Nitai Dake Aye Aye, Tora Ke Nivire Aye, Prem Kalashe Kalashe Dhale Tabuna Puraye, Preme Shantipur Dubu Dubu, Nade Bheshe Jaye. गौर प्रेम और हिले लेते नदे पेशे जाए. The song came to an end. In a soliloquy, as it were, talking to himself, Narendra said gently, he is actually distributing love. Gorara is bestowing love, devotion, divine knowledge, liberation, and whatever else one may desire, on whomsoever he likes. Oh, the wonderful power. He sat silent and motionless for a while, Swami Vivekananda. I was lying on my bed at night with the door of my room bolted from within, when he suddenly attracted me and took me, the one that lives within this body. That means body was lying there, and the person living in the body was attracted, taken away from there. That is the power, not some physical miracle. To Dakshineshwar, giving a great deal of instruction to me, because instruction is received by the mind. For that, body and ears are not necessary at all. And talking on various subjects, various related subjects. He allowed me to return. That means I came back. He does not say he made me return. He allowed me to go back. He can do anything he likes. This Gora Rai of Dakshineshwar can do anything. He likes, not what we like, huh? We have to take refuge in him. And what we want, he will fulfill. He will give us devotion, knowledge, freedom, liberation, perfection, whatever we want. Whatever we want does not mean worldly things. Whatever we want does not mean money. Does he give money? Yes. You know that incident? If it is necessary for your spiritual progress, he will give everything. You know that incident? Narendra had a friend, Upen Mukhopadhyay. He was, according to the old Bengali system of Kulin marriage. His mother was married to a Kulin, big Brahman, who never kept her. So her son was Upen. And he was very, very, very poor. He did not know how to keep himself and his mother. And he was very dear to Sri Ramakrishna. And Swami Vivekananda's past friend. One day when he came to Sri Ramakrishna asked him, what do you want? He said, I want money. Sri Ramakrishna said, you will get it, you will get it. Then he said he felt ashamed why I had asked these things. Now, he was matriculate. He had no money to take further education also. Now somebody was running a press and that was not running properly. So he wanted to sell it at a very ordinary price. Taking loan or by whatever means, Upen purchased that press. And whether the previous name was there, he named it Vasumati Printing Press, Vasumati Press. And he started a newspaper there, Vasumati. Swami Vivekananda's lectures in America first appeared in India in Vasumati, in Bengali. And what he did, every pie he spent for Thakur's photo was made available only because of Upen. Only 3 photos were taken, Thakur's total. And Upen started selling those photos. Selling, distributing, giving free, whatever. And Latu Maharaj once for some months stayed in Vasumati Press. And Upen used to give him foreigners or used to give him some pride, Bengal gram and all that. So when Swami Vivekananda heard it, he wrote that will make Upen go beyond this world. Now let me tell that incident a little more. Upendra's wife, Bhanumati. People used to go to her darshan. She was in Kashi in the last days. And Thakur had selected for Upendra's wife. She was a little dark complexion. So Swami Vivekananda told Upen, why you are marrying a dark girl? She had a grudge on Swamiji. She said, Thakur has selected me. What does Narendra know? So can Thakur do anything for us? If we want spiritual progress, if money is the only obsession in our life, Thakur will fulfill that. Not for everybody. Money is not for money's sake. Upen himself felt sorry that why I asked this thing. So, Thakur can do everything for our spiritual progress, for our reaching spiritual limits, for our spiritual liberation, perfection, whatever is necessary. Whatever is necessary. Now let me conclude this incident which you are reading. The darkness of dusk had intensified into a jet black night. From midday they are talking. We could not see each other, nor was it necessary. For the glowing mass of Narendra's spiritual emotion had entered deep into our heart and produced such an intoxication in our mind that even its frame, the body, was actually reeling. And the real world existing so long had, as it were, receded to a realm of a dream. What we call real has gone to dream. And the spiritual world has been opened. And that is intoxicating to them. Moreover, the truth that under the impulse of pure, unalloyed grace, the infinite God appears to be finite as a human being. The truth. What is the truth? That under the impulse of pure, unalloyed grace, God, the infinite God appears to be finite as a human being, sets in motion the wheel of religion, destroying the bondage of the past impressions of thousands of jivas. The truth, which according to the majority of the people of the world is but a fib of the imagination. Majority of the people do not know this. They will run after money, they will run after power mainly. But that power is transitory. While reading the Bhagavatam or seeing the serials on Krishna, that hit me too much. Sri Krishna's love, his knowledge, at every point is ordering some divine power and killing people. That is not his fault. Why it happens like that? Swami Vivekananda has described that also. That all the incarnations of the past, their devotees have chiseled and chiseled and chiseled their life and presented. But here is a man whom we have seen with our eyes, lived with him day and night, and found his character to be more perfect than any of the old people. Pure spiritual personality. World has not seen up till now. No external glamour. And this Swami Vivekananda could see. And Swami Vivekananda could convey it to Sadhana Swamiji. Is it not? Sadhana Swamiji is conveying to all of us. And Swami Vivekananda declared through the whole world. Somebody asked me, you are telling Swamiji is not nothing, Thakur is man. Then why Swamiji did not preach Thakur in America in the beginning? People there were not ready to receive any person. So Swamiji talked of Vedanta. And those who became attracted to Vedanta, Swamiji would tell about Thakur and Thakur only. In Khetri Raja, we were told Swamiji taught him this and that and that. Swamiji first talked of Thakur to Khetri Raja, gave him mantra, made him disciple, then other things. Moreover, the truth that under the impulse of pure unalloyed grace, the infinite God appears to be finite as a human being, sets in motion the wheel of religion, destroying the bondage of the past impressions of thousands of jivas. The truth, which according to the majority of the people of the world is but a fib of the imagination, then stood revealed to us in its living, blazing form. The truth stood before Sadhana Swamiji in living, blazing form. The truth, the abstract truth. How time slid away we did not know. The temporal time. But suddenly we heard the clock strike 9. I was reluctantly thinking of taking leave of Narendra. When he said, come, let us go. I will accompany you for a short distance. As we were going, similar interesting topics were started and we became soon absorbed in them. It occurred to us when we reached a home near Champatala that it was foolish on our part to have let Narendra come so far. Therefore, inviting him to the house, we asked him to take a little refreshment, which done, we accompanied him up to his house and returned. I remember distinctly another incident of that day, and that is a different thing. As soon as he entered our house, Narendra stood motionless, saying, I feel I have seen this house before. I find everything here is all known to me. All the rooms and the ways leading to them are all fully known to me. Oh, how strange and wonderful. The reader might remember that we described before in another place that Narendra had such experiences in his life from time to time, and what he said about the cause of such phenomena. So we do not repeat them here. Now, Narendra's judgment on Thakur. I already told about that incident. Some people think that Narendra was last to know Thakur as avatar. And he had doubt even till 3 days back. You know that incident? When Thakur was giving up the body just 3 days back, Narendra thought in his mind, even in this condition, physical condition, when practically he has left, can he say that he is the same person as Rama or Krishna? Can he say? Narendra thought in his mind. And Thakur spoke out. Though it was very difficult physically for his cancer to speak. Even now doubt, know for certain that the person who was Rama, that the person who was Krishna is now here in this body. Not in your Vedantic sense. Some people ask, what is this Vedantic sense? Your Vedantic sense. In Vedantic sense, all of us are Brahman. So not in that sense. But direct. In Vedanta itself, there is a Saguna Brahma. And that Saguna Brahma or Ishwar, as it is this apparent man, Sri Ramakrishna. Now was Swamiji doubting till then? We are at this incident today now. 1883. Was he doubting? He wanted to see in this physical condition, does he remember those things? No, it is not a question of memory at all. He is that at any time. I know some other people who worshipped Sri Ramakrishna to some days, had a photo of him. And later when they thought, oh, he suffered from cancer, he cannot be God. What is God? Sri Ramakrishna made us understand. My Guruji used to always call that cancer as a cancer Leela. Apparently cancer, and he is happy. So Swamiji is telling about the past incarnations without denouncing anybody. That many of them are legendary, who do not know whether they existed or not. And those we know, Buddha or Shankar or Chaitanya, one-sided. We are seeing the blazing we have seen just now. Whether it is love of God, whether it is knowledge, what not. Any paths leading to God. That day I was telling that Mahapuruji told my Guruji, which sadhana is telling that he is man? See every sadhana. That is all right. But one new thought came to my mind that day. Through every sadhana we find he is God. But the very fact that he did so many sadhanas is additional proof. Does anybody imagine like that? I have reached perfection, I will live with that. Why he felt the urge? Because he was God. Because he used to complete his sadhanas in 3 days. One side. And even then, why required to do another sadhana? He did not require to do anything for himself. He came to redeem people. And he had to establish the harmony of religions. And not by talk. This is the age of science. Krishna said, Yaya tamam prapadyante tansateva vajamya. Arjuna accepted that. Now people will say, demonstrate, show us. So he demonstrated by doing every sadhana for 3 days. See, same goal I am reaching, same goal I am reaching. And Swami Vivekananda had this special, my topic is, Swami Vivekananda has that special power to recognize this. Take his sannyasi disciples. All of them said that we did not know Thakur's incarnation. But is very, very dear and is the spiritual ideal. So we are going to him. But what Naren detected was his life is beneficial, useful, absolutely necessary for the whole world. That is God. That the world is suffering. Even today we see the quarrels in the name of religion. And quarrels in the name of religion start because experience is not there. And practical demonstration is not there. In one person, every sadhana and reaching perfection in every sadhana. Not that like a tourist 3 days this sadhana, 3 days that sadhana. Every sadhana when he used to take, he used to reach the perfection. Let me repeat that incident about Mahapurush Maharaj. You know, his photo we see like this. A video should have been taken then. He is repeating Ramakrishna, Ramakrishna, Ramakrishna. My Guruji was a college student in those days. Asked him, why you are saying Ramakrishna, Ramakrishna? He said, why not? Should I not take the name of God? My Guruji said, was he a God? He said, what it appears to you? He was a man. How do you say he was a man? Because he did sadhana. Does God do sadhana? Man only does sadhana too. Then Mahapuruji got excited, if excited is the correct word. He stood up from his chair. Which sadhana tells you he is a man? Take up any sadhana. Bhairavi Brahmani brought a naked woman, asked Sri Ramakrishna to sit on her lap and do japam. And when he sat, he entered samadhi. Can a man do like this? Can a superman do like this? Can a saint do like this? It is only God who can do. Take another sadhana, Vedanta sadhana. Totapuri exclaimed that for 40 years I had to struggle and that this person has got in one day. Can a man do like this? Can a superman do like this? Can a saint do like this? So every sadhana Mahapurush Maharaj analyzed and showed. Only that by the fact he did sadhana, don't conclude. See the nature of his sadhana and its results and then tell me. Doing sadhana is the glory of this incarnation. Because the man feels, even in Thakur's time, Ram Babu criticized these people to do sadhana. He said, I have taken Thakur, he is now doing everything. In our life, it is absolutely necessary to do sadhana and to follow scriptures. And so to impress that upon us, Thakur did sadhana. An ideal sadhana. What is sadhana, you tell me? Swami Sadhana has described We are all by nature Brahman. But today we do not know that. Say we have forgotten or whatever, we do not know that. But somebody tells us you are Brahman, that if we are convinced, then the attempt to realize that is sadhana, nothing else is sadhana. According to Vedanta, Sadhana Swami is telling this, but according to Vedanta, Bhutavastu Vishayatvat, Anubhava Avsanatvat Parama Vijnanas. The knowledge of Brahman is such a thing. It is not a thing known, but to change it into experience. That is sadhana. Now in Thakur's case, he was now and then seeing himself as God. And to get a complete grip on this, he did sadhana. So that is the ideal sadhana. Knowing that we are Brahman, to realize that is real sadhana. And Thakur knew he is God, and he wants to realize, so that is real sadhana, Thakur has shown. Then I take Narendra's name. So the other thing which we require is Narendra's example. Narendra is the representative of all of us taken together. Narendra had a universal mind. Narendra was struggling for sadhana, and Narendra was making mistakes at every step, remember. And Thakur used to correct it. So we do make mistakes, and Thakur's guidance will correct us. So we want both the ideal sadhana exemplified by Thakur, and for us to see represented by Narendra. Making mistakes, getting corrected. And this in the universal sense, not I or your sense. And so, Narendra said that such a perfection of character I have not seen anywhere. And Narendra and his group, Sadhana Swamiji and others, Sadhana Swamiji has described at the end of Guru Bhav, Thakur Manush Bhav. Let us assume he is a man. What should be a man? Given to ideal. So, Sadhana Swamiji says, people went to Thakur for some power. We are not saying no, go, and you will get it. And we have seen many people getting power. People went to Thakur because so many Devataji see, we will also see. Okay, go, you will also see. Some people went to Thakur so that he will give us, teach us Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Yes, that also he did, you go. And this last type of person, Sadhana Swamiji called selfish. And this says Swami Vivekananda and us did not go for such a reason. In our youth, we had cherished some ideals. How a man should have universal love. How a man should have total renunciation. Etc., etc., etc. And we had our own ideas about 100%. And when we went to Sri Ramakrishna, we saw it is 200, 250%. Our ideas have not stood anywhere. In this world, sometimes we imagine something or see picture. Taj Mahal, for example. And when you go to Taj Mahal, it is not as beautiful as we had imagined. Everywhere in the world it will happen like that. But this is opposite. Our imaginations will fall short. Such a brilliant light. So please, what I want to say is that everything will get, but that is not our purpose. We, the sadhakas of the world, whether sannyasis or grasthas or ladies or gentlemen or married or unmarried is out of question. We are all sadhakas. And for us, we want to see the spiritual ideal. We want to see the ideal 200%, 50%. That will prompt us to go forward. So this talk today is spoken by a sadhak directed to sadhakas. That is Sri Ramakrishna's divinity. Who knew it? Who understood it? Swami Vivekananda, Narendra. And at every step, Narendra tested Thakur. And what he tested, he got overwhelmed by the answers he got in Sri Ramakrishna. So, I appeal to read this Leela Prasanga. And I am referring to the last part of Leela Prasanga. Okay, we want to take up that My Master. Let us take that also. People think wrongly. Thakur panted for a vision of Kali. And he was a Kali Bhakta. Read what Swamiji has described in My Master. You find that only in Swamiji's dealing. Thakur is telling his mind whether this is a stone or there is some reality behind. He wanted to see the reality behind. And that intensity made him see the reality behind. To the extent that Sadhana Swami just described it as Nirvikalpa Samadhi. And then he asked whether there was mother at all or not. Yes, there was mother also. Because when he came out of that experience, he was telling Mahama. So this great reconciliation between Nirguna and Sagun Brahma, where do we find? For modern age, Jnani saying this Saguna Upasakas are lower. And Bhaktas feel we don't want to go to Advaita. And Thakur's Jwalanta example, through every bhav, he reached Advaita. And Madhur bhav is so much degraded by people's behavior. And Thakur is absolute identity by every bhav. So what is that we want? Now see externally. A rickety man, staggering. So if you want to see external glamour, it is a different thing. But if you want to know what is spirituality, if you want to see spirituality personified, Swamiji has called Thakur by so many names. Two names I am referring to, which is Swamiji has composed the Arati, Bhavabandhana Khandana. Chit Ganakaya. Chit means Brahman, consciousness. That solidified into a body. Chit Ganakaya. Not body made of flesh and bones. And in this Hinduism and Ramakrishna, Swamiji describes Veda Murti Bhagavan. Veda Murti. That means every level and aspect of spiritual progress he has shown in his life. That is Vedanta. Not Vedanta. Vedas include Vedanta. Not Vedanta Murti, Veda Murti. That means all the levels, all the stratas, and all the different angles through which God can be approached is seen in Sri Ramakrishna. So such a who understood all this? Naren had those eyes. And all Thakur's disciples, I would say, Naren is writing a letter to Mahapurush Maharaj. That letter one should read, everybody. In that he has compared with all the previous incarnations. And then Swamiji says, Dasa tava janame janame dayani. After his Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So this brilliant analysis, and that analysis he could not write. And that Sardan Swamiji has written. And Sardan Swamiji has declared that in the very beginning of Guru Bhava. That what Swami Vivekananda has told, we are trying to tell in details. So, my reference is again to all of you. This great scripture, Sri Ramakrishna Leela Prasanga. Those who can should read in the original and in any language. And Swamiji's presentation of Sri Ramakrishna. Then only, as Sardan Swamiji says, that will enter our hearts. And we will also feel. And we will dedicate. He has given a condition here, no? If you surrender to Sri Ramakrishna. So we'll dedicate everything that we have to him. What we have? Nothing. What he has given, that we have. So we'll dedicate everything to him and be blessed by him. His grace will flow upon us as we described here. And we will get what we want in spiritual life. Whether bhakti or jnana or ideal karma or yoga or whatnot. It is this reference which made me take up the topic. Talking is endless. The whole fifth part is there. The previous incident which is referred here, which I just now read, previous to that, there is an incident. And that incident Naren did not believe in Advaita. And he was joking with Hazrat. What is this fun? Pot is Brahman, jar is Brahman, cot is Brahman. Where the rishis drunk, where the rishis mad. And Sri Ramakrishna just touched him. What are you saying? And Narendra's vision was changed. That is power. Just by a touch, Narendra's vision changed. And he saw everything is Brahman. The horse carriage is Brahman. Though he was facing that, he did not feel like going away because that is Brahman. And for 6 months he had that experience. Then he said, now I will never disbelieve in Advaita. So how this intellectual giant Narendra, how Thakur impressed him and how he could tell us and the whole world about the divinity of Sri Ramakrishna. Not only that, Narendra said, when we make some idea of God, it is a caricature. Because we make according to our mind. Unless we study an incarnation, we cannot know what is God. So incarnation is a word. Actually it means God. In human form. Why human form? So that it is approachable to us. So that we can love him in any way we like. We can take Thakur as our child. Many people do take that. We can take him as our friend, our master, our mother, our father, and Madhurva. And Madhurva in the reverse way also we can take. Thakur himself has said, relation between me and Naren is like that. So in every relation we can get him. This is what Naren showed to us. Om Sthapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharma swarupine avatar varishtaya Ramakrishnaya te namaha sarvadharma sthapakastam sarvadharma swarupakah आचार्याणां महाचार्यो रामकृष्णाय ते नमः यथाग्निर्दायिका शक्ति रामकृष्णे स्थिता हिया सर्वविद्या स्वरूपां तां शारदां प्रणमाम्यहम् परतत्त्वे सदा लीनो रामकृष्ण समाज्ञया यो धर्म स्थापनरतो वीरेशं तं नमाम्यहम् ओम शांति 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 श्री रामकृष्णार्पणमस्तु।